Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. And thanks for joining us for another lesson as we look into Linux in general and the very important things that make Linux work. And in this video, we're going to talk all about package management. And in fact, actually, package management is very, very big. So we decided to break this up into a couple of videos so that way you can understand how you manage package within a Linux environment. And of course, specifically, we're looking at our distro of choice here, which is going to be Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Now, before we jump into things, I will say this as I do in all of my videos. If this is your first time finding me, welcome to the channel, of course. So not only welcome to the channel since it's your first time here, but also as well too, you need to be going through my other videos to make sure you catch up to this video because we always build on concepts and ideas that we have learned in the past. So I don't want you to get lost. So make sure you watch my videos and get caught up because again, we're starting at a place in time that I don't want you to be lost in. And for my folks who are not new to the channel and you missed a couple of videos or maybe you just weren't sure of something that I've covered in the past, because again, we've always built on these ideas and concepts. Also as well, go ahead and watch previous videos. And of course, I'll put links in the description for the playlist so you guys can follow that and be all caught up. And once you do that, then you can come to this video, of course, and we're going to learn all about package management. And specifically, like I said, we're going to break this up into a couple of videos and we're going to learn about the first tool today. So stick around for that. Now, before we jump into it, last housekeeping item. If you love my content and it's helping you out a lot, make sure you give me a like for the video as it helps the channel grow. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. So that way you're notified when I upload new videos to the channel. And lastly, of course, share this with a family member or friend who's interested in learning about tech. And by the way, guys, speaking about tech, if you're interested in talking to me about tech, I will put links in the description as well for my calendar. Go ahead and book time on my calendar as it does fill up quickly. So make sure you get your spot and I'll see you guys there. Anyways, housekeeping out of the way. Let's jump into now how we manage packages on our Linux machine. And of course, you guys are seeing here that I have my RHEL 8 box. Now, if you're ever wondering what a package is nothing more than a piece of software that allows us to run something to get a task done. I'll give you a great example. If we go under activities, well, what do you know? We have Firefox. Firefox is a piece of software that allows us to do something. Well, what is it allowing us to do? Browse the internet. No different than any other packages here. So for example, the terminal, that is a piece of software that allows us to go ahead and interact with the Linux machine through commands. And so the list goes on, right? These are all different packages that are installed on this machine. And so the idea is we need a way to manage these packages. And the first tool that we're going to learn in order to manage packages, especially on this RHEL 8 box, and actually this goes back to way back in earlier versions of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. It's not just RHEL 8, but 5, 6, those versions of RHEL, they used a tool called RPM. And that is actually something that's very, very common. In fact, actually, RPM is still used to this day. But in other videos, I'm going to talk a little bit about how it ties all together. But for now, just know that RPM is a low-level tool that can allow us to work with packages. And I'm going to show you guys how to do a couple of things with these packages. And we're going to kind of go through some of the manual ways of doing things. Now, again, I will give you a little bit of insight into later videos. There's much easier ways to do this, but you have to know what we've done in the past to appreciate where we are today. All that being said, now let's go ahead and go under activities, and I'm going to go ahead and open up Firefox here, and I'm going to type here LibreOffice.org. Now, if you guys never heard of LibreOffice, essentially this is an equivalent to what you would have for a Microsoft Office suite. So it allows you to basically get a PowerPoint creator, an Excel application, a Word application. Again, it's just an Office suite that allows you to get work done. And the really cool thing about this is it's actually free. Now, if you're interested in understanding why it's free and all that stuff, you can look at the README documents, but we're going to work with this particular package here, and it's going to be the LibreOffice package in order to install our Office suite on this particular virtual machine. Now, again, just to show you guys, if I were to go under activities, and by the way, real quick, let me get my head out of the way here. But if you were to click these show application buttons that you're seeing here, right, and let's go and make sure that we click all, you can see that this is all the applications that I have installed on this virtual machine. So not a lot here, right? So let's go ahead and put my head back here. I don't have a lot of applications on here, and specifically the one that I'm looking for is LibreOffice. So we're going to work with RPM in order to get this done. And I'm going to walk you guys through some of these steps so that way you can see how this all works. So first things first, let's go back to our LibreOffice. The first thing that we want to do is we want to download those packages to our virtual machine so that way we can work with it. So let's click download and click download LibreOffice. And the really cool thing here is that the website automatically determines what our architecture is. So it knows that we are a Linux virtual machine. It knows that we are 64-bit. And I've talked about this in the past of what this is. And it also tells us, hey, you want to download the RPM packages. Now, RPM is the packages that are based for RHEL machines. Also, you'll find it for Fedora. If you are using, say, for example, Ubuntu or a Debian-based Linux operating system, you will not be using RPM. You can go where it says Deb or DEB. And again, they have different packages for Windows, Mac OS, the like, right? So let's just focus on our Linux 64-bit RPM, and we're going to go ahead and hit download here. So with our RPM package download, we can go ahead and open up our terminal now. So let's go to activities and let's click on this terminal here. And we can go ahead and go to our downloads directory. That is where our download went to. So if I were to see where I am in the world, I'm in my home directory, and we know that because of the tilde over here, right? So if I were to do a cd downloads, and let's go ahead and take a look what's inside in there. And the most important part that we are concerned with, of course, is our LibreOffice right here. And that is all of our RPM packages. But it's interesting, it's in a tar.gz. And by the way, guys, all that is a way to package a tarball up. Or another way to think about it is, in the Windows world, you typically have like a zip file. This is just another way to compress multiple files and directories together, so that way it's one easy file to download over the internet. So we actually need to uncompress this first. And in order to do that, we have to use the command called tar. So if I were to do a man tar, you can see here that it's an archiving utility. And there's multiple examples of how you can use tar. I'll let you guys read that on your own. And in order to make this video a little bit easier, I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys the commands. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to create a directory where I'm going to put all the stuff in. So let's do a make dir and let's put in LibreOffice. Let's do an ls, and you can see the directory that I created over here. So now I'm going to want to extract all the information that is inside of that tarball and put it into the LibreOffice directory. And in order to do that, we use the tar command, and then we're going to give it the following options. X for extract, V for verbose, I want to see what it's actually extracting, Z, and the reason why we do Z is because it is a tar.gz. In order to extract a GZ tarball, you have to use the Z flag, and then F for file. So once we have F for file, we actually give the name of the tarball file itself. So that's going to be Libre, capital O for office. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw that there, but I actually used tab for tab completion. So you type in Libre and then O, capital O, in order to get the entire tarball name. If I would have done the lowercase o, it would have brought up office as in lowercase for my directory. So something to watch out for there. So now that I give it the file itself of what I want to extract, now I can do a dash capital C in order to tell it, hey, this is the directory that I want you to put all the extracted content into. So we can type here now LibreOffice, and that is the directory. And let's go ahead and hit enter here. All right, so that was quick. All my stuff was extracted into that directory. So let's go inside of the directory now and see what we have. So as you see here, we have a directory called LibreOffice 25.8.1.1. Let's go inside there. And it looks like we have install, readmes, RPMs. And what we want to do is let's go inside of the RPM directory. And we got a lot of packages in here. How many packages do we have? Well, let's take a look. If I were to do an ls and we were to pipe that into WC, and WC stands for word count, and give it a -L for an option, and the -L basically says count the number of lines. And so we have 42 total packages. And if you're interested in learning more about WC, you can do man space WC, and you can see here that it prints new lines, words, and byte counts for each file. And of course, I did a lowercase l, and as you see here, a lowercase l stands for print new line counts. And that's essentially a little trick there that we can use in order to count how many lines are in the terminal, especially when we're doing an ls. So essentially, I am using that as a way to count how many packages we have. And that was 42. So now that we have all these packages here and we see that there's 42, we can go ahead and actually work with these packages using the RPM command to learn how RPM affects these packages, or what exactly do they do in a sense. And so if I were to go and teach you guys about just RPM in general, let's work through some of these commands so that way we can see what just RPM does in general, and then we'll target RPM to help us out with these packages. So that way we can see how RPM helps us manage all these packages. All right, so first thing on the list that I'll teach you guys, and not necessarily that has to do with these packages here, but you can actually use RPM in order to list what packages are currently installed on your machine. And in my particular case here, we have this virtual machine. So we're going to do the command RPM, and then we're going to do dash, and this is where we give it the flags, and our flags that we're going to give it is QA. Now this command here is going to list all the packages that are available on this virtual machine. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pipe that into a less, and reason being is because there's going to be a lot of packages, and we're going to need an easy way to scroll and see what those packages are. So if I were to click enter here, or should I say hit enter, you can see the list of all of the packages that are on this particular machine. And of course, we can scroll down and see that there's quite a number of packages in this particular RHEL 8 box. Now let's quit out of this. Now, by the way, guys, if you're asking how I'm able to quit and scroll through the terminal, those commands that you learn in Vim are also the same commands that apply in less. So this is what I meant before by you have to watch my videos because we build on previous concepts. So anyways, moving forward now, since we just learned about the WC command, well, we can go ahead and remove this less over here and do WC-L. And it's a quick way to figure out how many packages we have installed on this particular Linux machine. And as you see here, 1,467 packages. Really cool and quick way to figure out how many packages you have installed on the machine. Now, the next thing that I want to show you guys is how do we figure out what version of a package we currently have installed on our machine, specifically our RHEL 8 box that we have here. And I'm not going to work with any of the LibreOffice packages, and the reason being is because we don't have it installed. So what version could it possibly find? None, right? So we're actually going to change the package to another package and see what version we have installed. So the command in order to do that is RPM. Now we do a -Q followed by the actual package itself. So in this case, I can do open SSH and click enter, or hit enter, should I say. And you can see that we have open SSH followed by the version of the particular package that we have here. Now let's go ahead and break this down a little bit so you can understand exactly what you're looking at here. So here is the actual name of the package, which is open SSH-8. Then after that comes the actual version itself. So here we have the actual version of the OpenSSH name, or the package name, followed by the release. So here is the release that we have here, EL8_7. And then lastly, it's going to finish up with the architecture that it's designed for. So in our case, it is x86_64. That is how you read these packages. So moving on from here, let's learn another item with RPM. So on the next thing that we'll learn, and we can type it out first, it's RPM-Q followed by I. And what this means here, this particular command is, hey, I want you to find me detailed information about my package. And what package are we going to give it? Well, let's see if we can find out any detailed information about any of these LibreOffice packages. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick one at random here. and I double clicked it, and then you use middle button in order to copy and paste, so that way I don't have to type all of that. And let's hit enter here and see what we find. So isn't that very cool? It actually tells us very detailed information about the package itself. So you can see the version, you can see the release, the architecture, you can see when it was actually built, which was really cool. So August 26th, 2025. I mean, the list goes on about all kinds of information that you can find about this particular package. Now, similar to finding out detailed information about this package, let's go ahead and change the I for information, and let's change it to an L. An L basically tells us, hey, I want you to list all of the files that will be installed by this particular package. So let's hit enter here. And it gives you now a list of files that will be installed just by installing this particular package. Now here's another interesting command with RPM. If you're interested in seeing what manuals are being installed when you install a package, the way you can do that is you can do RPM-QD. And this lists all the documentation files that will be used or will be installed when you install a package. So in this case, if we were to take a look at all of the RPMs that are included, so if we were to take a look at all of these RPMs here, one of these particular packages, they install the documentation in order to bring up man for LibreOffice. Now, I don't know which one it is here, of course, so we may or may not find something. And if I were to take a guess, it is the one that I have highlighted right now. But let's go ahead and take a guess. And if we can't find it, I'll just pick another package to show you what that looks like. So let's go ahead and copy this down over here, and let's see if this actually returns anything. So let's hit enter. And of course it doesn't return anything because this particular package does not install any manuals when you're using this package. Now there's 41 other packages that may do that. And for the sake of saving you guys an hour-long video of figuring out which one's which, let's just change this LibreOffice package to something else that I know that we have here that automatically installs manuals for us. So let's do open SSH. And here you go. You can see that these are the documents that are installed, or the man pages that are installed. So pretty cool how you can use the -QD and the package name in order to figure out what documents will be installed when you install that package. Now there's another cool option I'm going to show you guys, especially when working with RPMs. And when you're installing packages, sometimes either before you install the package or maybe after you install the package, there are scripts that are run. Maybe they're helper scripts, maybe they do a little bit of cleanups, who knows what they do. But if you ever want to see what scripts are run either before installation or after installation, you can use the RPM command followed by -Q space -- scripts followed by the package name. And this will tell you what scripts are run either before or after package installation. So I'm going to take a guess here, and I'm going to put a package that we copied before by LibreOffice. And we're going to see if this particular package runs anything before or after. And after an enter, it clearly doesn't run anything. Now, we have 41 other packages. Remember, there's 42 total LibreOffice packages. But I'm not going to bore you guys by finding one that has scripts that it runs either before or after. But I'm pretty sure that OpenSSH does have a before and after script. So we can go ahead and replace our LibreOffice here with OpenSSH. And as you can see here, there is a pre-installed script that is run, and the script is right there for you. So it's a cool way to see what scripts are run either before or after installation of a package. And you do that, of course, with the RPM-Q -- scripts followed by the package name. Now, I think I've showed you guys enough examples here of how this all works as far as RPM and what are the cool little things you can do with the package. But the most important things that you really need to know is A, how do you install a package? And B, how do you remove a package? So let's wrap up with those two because those two are really the most important thing. Now, interestingly enough, if we were to go up another directory here and we take a look, there is a README file. So let's go inside the directory for the README. And there is our README. So let's go ahead and open it up with less. And I'm going to look for installation. So here are the installation notes. And you can see here it says installation for LibreOffice for Debian /Ubuntu. Of course, that's not us. We are actually Fedora or other Linux systems using the RPM packages, which is us, of course. So if you see here, I think the biggest thing that we are concerned with is this line that says for other RPM systems, we want to use the command RPM space dash capital U V H. And looks like we are followed by a wildcard and a .rpm. So let's go over what this means exactly, and then we can actually apply the command. So let's bring in a new window here because I want to make sure that we dissect this command real quick so that way we understand what we're doing. No sense of typing stuff without knowing exactly what it means. So let's go ahead and bring up the man page and let's bring it for RPM. And so if we take a look at what the first flag is, which is a capital U is upgrade. So what exactly does that mean? Well, let's search for it. So here's the line that is very, very interesting. So this one here is the upgrade, and it says here that this upgrades or installs the packages currently installed to a newer version. This is the same as install, except all other versions of the packages are removed after the new package is installed. So essentially what this is saying is that if the packages exist already for LibreOffice, then we're going to upgrade the packages. And if it doesn't exist, which is in our case, we don't have it, it just goes ahead and installs it fresh. So that is what the capital U stands for, and that is very important. Let's take a look at lowercase v now and see what that is. So lowercase v, as you're seeing here, stands for verbose. So it's going to print out a lot of information to the screen. Easy enough. Let's follow up now with H. So lowercase h, what does that mean? It stands for hash, and it says here print 50 hash marks as the package's archive is unpacked. So used with lowercase v, which we are using with lowercase v, by the way, for a nicer display. So what exactly does that mean now? We can go ahead and apply it because we understand exactly what it's doing. Maybe not the hash part because the hash is kind of interesting, but we can see what all that means by following what we have here. So we actually, I can close this out now, get exactly what this means over here, which is, hey, we're going to use RPM with these particular commands in order to install our RPMs. And then the last part here is you're wondering maybe what this wildcard is, or this star. This star stands for wildcard. That means install all the RPMs within this directory. And the reason being is because we want to hit every file that ends with a .rpm. That's exactly what that means. So essentially you're encompassing all the RPMs that are within that directory. So let's go ahead and copy and let's quit out of here. And if we were to go back into our directory that holds all of these RPMs, let's go into RPMs. Now you can see here all the packages. So if we were to do a paste here now, essentially you're using the utility with the flags and it's saying, hey, I want you to apply these flags to every single file that meets this requirement here. And the requirement means, wildcard means it can mean anything, but it has to end with a .rpm. And what do you know? If you look at every single package here, it has some type of name in front of it, and it can be encompassed with that wildcard, but it has to finish with the .rpm in order to qualify. So it's a nice way of saying, hey, just install all of these RPM packages that are here. So let's go ahead and actually run this now and see if we can go ahead and install this Office or LibreOffice onto our RHEL 8 box. So let's hit enter here. And of course, it says permission denied. Why permission denied is because we have to elevate our privileges. So let's go and rerun the command, except this time we are going to put sudo in front of it. So that was pretty quick. It actually installed all the packages for us. So now if I were to go into our activities here, and again, let me move my face out of the way. There we go. With my face out of the way, we can actually hit this button here that says show applications. And by the way, this is specific for RHEL 8. Now let me go ahead and put my face back again. So with my face back in its proper spot, you can see now we have all of these LibreOffice applications that were just installed, which is very, very cool. And let's say I want to go ahead and launch the Word Writer, which is similar to Microsoft Word, I guess, in a sense. But I can go ahead and click the writer. And here we are. We actually have welcome to LibreOffice, and we have the writer that is up. So you can actually go ahead and use this now in order to write your documents. Subscribe to Acosta E.T.F. Pretty awesome. I just showed you guys now how to use RPM in order to install your very own Microsoft Office suite or equivalent, which is LibreOffice. All right, so let's go ahead and exit out of here. No, I don't want to save. Oh, and real quickly, guys, let's go under activities real quick and go back to the applications. Just so you know, they actually have, this is more of like a landing page over here for if you go to LibreOffice 25.8 that we have here. And this landing page sort of is the application that allows you to see all your documents that were stored in one place. Plus also it gives you the ability to have Word, Calc, Impress, like all the applications are in one particular place here, followed by anything that you saved in the past will show up on the right. So you can literally just launch anything right from this home application. So I can go ahead and do the Excel version, right? So everything is in there. I just wanted to show you that real quickly. So let's go ahead and exit out of this. All right, guys. So the next item on the list that I need to teach you is, and of course, we're seeing here all the packages that were listed from our previous installation. We're already seeing that it's already installed, but I wanted to get a list of all the packages that we installed, which was 42 of them. Now, the next item on the list is teaching you how to go ahead and remove these packages if you don't want them there anymore. So how do we go about doing that? Well, we do sudo RPM and we do the -E command. And the -E commands allows us to remove packages. Now, here's the interesting thing. Since this is RPM and it's a low-level tool, we may run into some items that will be a little bit of extra work for us. And what do I mean? Well, let's say we're interested in removing this particular package that we have here, which is LibreOffice 25.8-URE, so on and so forth. Let's copy that. Let's paste it, and let's remove and see what happens here. And by the way, before we do that, let's put a little space here because we might get an error. There we go. So sudo space RPM space -E space the name of the package. So let's hit enter. An interesting output that we have here, it says we have some failed dependencies. And essentially what this is saying here is that LibreOffice 25.8-URE is needed by all of these applications. So in order for me to be able to remove this package, I have to essentially resolve all of these dependencies. And I like to think of this as dependency hell in the sense that I have to resolve all of these issues before I can even uninstall that one package that we talked about. So essentially what you can do now is say sudo RPM-E, and we can work with the first package here, copy, paste, and hit enter. And now in order to remove that package, we have to go ahead and remove these packages in order to be able to remove the second layer of packages. So let's go ahead now and copy and paste this package here. And let's go ahead and delete this line. And we can go ahead and paste this in here. And it looks like we have another layer. So in order for us to remove that third layer of packages, we have to resolve these dependencies here before we can remove the third layer. I think we're 4 layers in now. So let me go ahead and remove this. And let's go ahead and copy this. And remember, that's just one package in layer 4, right? You have to do second package, third package, fourth package, just to be able to go up another layer, which was this guy here. And then you got to delete all of these guys here, 1, 2, 3, and you go down the list. So that's why I called it dependency hell. So let's go ahead and do this one package here and see if we can get this one package. And what do you know? That actually worked, I think. Let me go ahead and remove another package. And let's go ahead and copy this, paste. And essentially, if you see the error that is listed there, it's saying that LibreOffice 25.8.1, so on and so forth, is not installed. Why? Because we actually uninstalled it over here. That was this first command. We essentially said, hey, do it twice. So that means now that we've uninstalled this package, which means that we resolved this dependency and this dependency. The next package, essentially, if we go down the list, is this particular package. So if I were to copy that, and let's go ahead and remove that package. Great. So it looks like we removed those two packages, right? So if we look at all of these dependencies here, you have LibreOffice Base 25.8, which is the same thing over here. And this Libo Basis 25.8 Postgres. This package here is the same package as this. So essentially, we resolved all of these dependencies, which is the fourth layer down. Now we can go up another layer and we go to our third layer. That means now that I can go ahead and remove these packages here. So I can go ahead and copy and paste that. And let's go ahead and paste it here. And just to make sure, this is Libo Basis 258. Let me make sure that's correct. Yep, that looks good. So now we can go home. Let's do a sudo rpm-e space. And let's uninstall the third layer package and see what we get. And of course, that works because we had to uninstall all of the fourth layer, right? This is layer number 4 of dependencies. Now we can work on layer number 3. So we can remove all of these packages here that you're seeing in layer number 3 to then go up another layer, which is all of these guys here, to finally remove this. And then once we do that, then we can go up another layer and we can remove this first package that we were looking at over here. So this is what you call dependency hell, and you have to resolve all of this stuff just to remove the packages. And by the way, this is what people used to do back in the day when you didn't have all of these other tools that I'm going to show you later on in our package management series, of course. That makes this whole entire process easy. You literally had to do this every single time, which was a pain in the rear. But of course, life is not like this today. But you get to appreciate the tools that you have because this is what people used to do back then. Let's take a pause there for now because we definitely learned a lot today. Now you learned a lot about RPMs and especially what they are. And more importantly too, you even got to install this Office suite, which is really cool. And in the next videos, we'll talk about how to make life a little bit easier with some of the more recent tools that actually help us out with dependency management. So that'll do it for this video, guys. I hope you learned a lot. I hope this helps you out. And as always, if you like my videos and they're helping you out a lot, especially when you're going on your Linux journey, make sure you go ahead and give me a like for the video as it helps the channel grow. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you're notified when I upload new videos to the channel. And of course, share this with a family member or friend so that way they can learn all about tech. And real quick, guys, if you don't want to wait for my next video, YouTube thinks that you'll like this video popping up on screen. So go ahead and give that a watch, and I'll see you guys in the next one.